I think. What is that? So you have not. Now you started recording. Who is recording?
Sir, the
So
result entered.
you should have recorded in the beginning. Anyway, so please send the record to me when it is free, right? Because I am unable to record here. There is a recorder, but there is recording, but sound is not coming. There is a technical problem. Anyway, so this is ICT and administration. It is three. It has three important aspects. First is internal administration. Second is planning and decision making. Write it down. So first is internal administration. Second is planning and decision making. Third is service delivery. So what is internal administration? Internal administration we find internal administration means administration of a particular department or a particular organization, right? Acha, what are the essential components? What are the essential elements of internal administration? First is software application. This is database program. How software, which kind of software will be developed, and how can it be implemented? What are the procedures? What are the rules? These are the essential components of ICT in internal administration. First is software application. Second is information. Third is groupware. Groupware, WARE, groupware. That means connectivity of the group. Then shared database. Next is shared database. Middleware. Middleware is between the system and application. Between the system and application, that is called middleware. Then integration. Integration means integration of software and hardware. Then we have security policy. These are essential components or elements or characteristics of ICT in administration. To implement ICT in administration or for e-governance, we need these basic elements for the smooth functioning of ICT in the administration. Then in internal administration, what is the role of IT, ICT, information and communication technology? Number one is in internal administration, you can write it down. First effect of ICT in internal administration. Internal, this is self-explanatory. I need not explain that what is internal. So internal administration means the administration of a particular department or particular organization inside, not with public or outside. So first it saves or reduces, saves time and reduces inordinate delays in the movement of files, right? So every organization, government organization has a file movement. A file has to be created. Suppose somebody wrote an application. There is a proposal, there is a initiation, there is a order, and for that there will be a file. File will be initiated at the lowest level, assistant section officer or section officer. After the initiation of file on a particular document, application, whatever, or government order, whatever it may be, it will be sent with a remark, that is noting and drafting, noting, positive or negative, whatever, that is not the concern. It will go to the next higher officer. So it will be it will move, files are moving earlier before digitalization or before e-governance. It was moving earlier in physical form. There is a paper file, there is a writing, you need paper, you need pen, you need to write, then it will move physically. This is a time taking and cumbersome process. So when you use ICT, there is a particular software file movement we will study later on. The file will move in the click of the mouse to the higher authority. So the delay is saved here. Delay is totally curtailed here. There will be no unnecessary delay. Within seconds, within 1 minute after writing the noting, you can send the file. So in internal governance, if there is the use of information and communication technology, then the file movement and the related delays, unnecessary delays, sometimes deliberate delays, can be avoided. Right? This is the number one important role or important significance of ICT in international administration. Second is time is saved. This is automatic. Second is I hope you are writing. I expect you are writing because you don't have the material. Second is important things you should write. Not you need not write all the things. Second is centralized storage of data and files. The entire data of the particular department and all the files are stored centrally, electronically. there is a electronic storage in the computer, in the main server. So whenever anyone, whether a top officer or a lower officer, having the access to those files, having the requisite necessary access or permission to access those files, can find file within a second in search mode. There is a centralized storage. Suppose there is a file related to a particular college in a higher education department or a particular university. So there you can search a file, you can find a file, and you can get a file within seconds. So time, money, and manpower is saved. If in physical mode, what was being done? In physical mode, we are asking peons and others, where is the file? Where is the file? Where is the file? It is there. It was there. It is there. It is supposed to be there, but it is not there. So you are wasting time and manpower. But okay. Third is effective communication system among the employees of the department. So in a department, there are 100 employees, 200 employees. Big organization, there are 500, 1,000 employees. So communication among the employees can be faster, speedier, and effective. Nobody can say, I have not received, because whatever the mode is basically ICT. So through use of ICT, we can have better communication among the employees. Then we can replace, this is manual systems of, suppose take the example of leave application. There is a system in HRMS, Moody's and other state governments also, human resource management system. The entire personal file and entire this service book is electronically stored there, HRMS system. Suppose I will go on leave. If I am applying for casual leave, CL, then there is no need of being entered there. But if I am applying for medical leave or earned leave, that is GL, or long leave, then that has to be entered. So there will be no manipulations, and there will be no unnecessary delays in sanctioning those leaves. Suppose I am applying for provident fund. This is regarding the benefits given to the employees. So employees' problems, employees' grievances are easily addressed or redressed by the system of ICT or internal governance. So there is manual management of employees' problems, grievances, etc., etc. Then there is the adaptability to the change. These are the changes. These have to be adapted, right? So these have to be adapted, right? 1 minute. Next is creates an environment of change, of expectations, where the employees will adapt to the changing conditions of the new environment created by the use of ICT in internal administration. So, in time, it may take some time, the employees will be adjusted to a new environment. Suppose you think of an imaginary situation. There is an office where there is not a single computer. There is an office where there is no internet facility. There is a office where there is no use of WhatsApp group. You have a group here, you have created a group yesterday. And in a group, you are messaging to all the students here that you should join the class or you have questions, queries, etc., etc. Right? So as a group, not in a physical mode, through electronic mode, we are communicating with each other. Suppose I take a decision regarding the class. Suppose the center takes a decision regarding the class. So that is communicated easily. So when there is a new environment, that is in the office, there was no computer, now there are computers. There is no email, then now there are mails, there are WhatsApp groups, etc., etc., etc. So these are the uses that is expected in internal administration of the organization, any government department or government. It has these benefits that I discussed now. So the challenge is that it will create a new environment. This new environment will put some queries, doubts, apprehensions among the employees, whether they can be successful or not. But we have crossed that stage almost in the entire world. Almost all the states, all societies have crossed that stage. in some form, whether it is a larger form or a lower form or a middle level form. In some forms, there is e-governance in the entire world, in all states, in all departments. So the organization must be adaptable to change, and the people working in the organization must be adaptable to change. Then I am giving you a table. On the left, you write traditional governance. On the right, you write electronic administration. Traditional administration or traditional. You read right administration, not governance. Governance is another term. Left, you write traditional administration. Right, you write electronic administration or e-administration. So, what is the difference? You must see, and we'll understand. This is very easy to understand. Left to right paper files. That means in traditional application, traditional administration, we have paper files. In right to right e-files or electronic files or soft files, right? Whatever you write, soft files, electronic files, or e-files. On left, there is hierarchy. You understand hierarchy. I need not explain that. On right, you write network group. Network. There is no hierarchy. Hierarchy is automatically placed by entire people are networked through ICT. Then we have on the left in traditional administration, what was happening? You have the information, but you are hiding the information. Suppose an officer or an employee has the information, but he or she was hiding the information to the public, to the people, to others. And by that, you are showing your power, that you are more powerful because you have the information. I am less powerful in comparison to you because I don't have the information. So, what changed in ICT, in international administration? Now, that is sharing information. I shared information through use of ICT, and by that, I empowered you. Here, there is hiding of information, secrecy, and that is the basis of somebody's power. Here, there is sharing of information, and that is empowerment of that people or common people, right? This is number what? Hiding information. Then left you write expenditure orientation, right you write performance orientation. So earlier in traditional administration, we have expenditure oriented, how much money we have spent. That is the success story. That is the benchmark for studying of success or measuring of success of administration. These money have been spent for the welfare of the public. Let us take an example. Or these money have been spent on roads and buildings in a financial year for a particular Gram Panchayat or for a particular block. But what is happening in e-administration? This is performance. How you have performed. What is the net result of performance? What is the outcome? So this is outcome based administration. What is the result? These are the results. So this is a huge qualitative difference between expenditure and performance. So on the left expenditure, on right there is performance. Then you have this individualistic approach in traditional administration. Individual is important. Individual is a key person. His approach decides everything in the administration. But now in e-governance, we have organizational approach. We are a part of the collective, not the collective, part of the collective. And every individual is contributing to the emergence of the collective, that is organization. So organization is important, and as organization is important, we are also important. We are part of the organization. We means employees of the organization. Here, individualistic approach. The head of the organization, the boss of the organization, the leader, that is whether a bureaucrat or a minister, whatever it may be, his approach is very crucial, and that is the individualistic approach. And every individual cannot be successful, every collective can be successful because that is the collective pool of knowledge, collective pool of experience, and collective pool of performance, right? Then batch processing, and this is online processing. Batch wise, it is processed in internal administration in earlier stages of administration, traditional administration. But this is online processing. Processing, you understand. Then delayed access and instant access. In traditional administration, we have delayed access. Access is not made free. Sorry, access is not made possible for everybody. Access is delayed. We are not getting information. We are not getting any knowledge about the decision. We are not getting knowledge about what government is doing. So access is delayed. Here, access is instant. You just click the mouse in the website of a particular government organization, you get the entire data there. And in internally also, you get the entire data. Then delayed response, prompt response. From these 2 points, it has been derived. Delayed response in traditional administration, quick response in e-administration. Manual data entry and electronic data entry. We are entering data manually, writing in paper and pen in notes. Here we are entering data digital, that is in computer, in software mode, electronic data. More time for routine repetitive work, more time for creative work. Here what we are doing in traditional administration internally, doing the same thing repeatedly, we are doing the same thing repeatedly. So this brings drudgery, boring, loss of creativity, loss of interest in the job. Everybody is tired, getting tired at an early age. So the manpower, the capability, the innovativeness is being killed by the process of traditional administration. So you get sufficient time in e-administration, and you can utilize that time for innovative work, for creative work, for new means of work, new manner of work, and you can think out of box. You can think beyond traditional approach to administration or traditional approach to management. Then fear of unknown. Here you are fearing in traditional administration about the unknown, what will happen, who will come, who will the boss, so many things. But here you are IT savvy, you are very competent in using computer, in using email, in using computer-based software, so you are happy. So this is a generation gap you will find in every government organization. Those who are old people retiring or going to retire, they say, "What to me? I don't know computer." You say, young people know this. Even in our houses, small guys and studying in class 10, 12, they are very expert in mobile management. In seconds, they will find, search, type, etc., send messages. We need to stop. We need to study. So this is the generation gap. So young generation, those who are entering the administration, they are IT savvy and they enjoy the work. And the old people don't enjoy the work. Middle-aged people don't enjoy the work. Same repetitive work continuing throughout their career for 30 years, for 20 years, 25 years, 35 years, etc. Then status quo. So in traditional administration, you will find status quo, same thing going on, no change. This is resistant to change, but this is change. Change is always welcome in new administration. There is continuous improvement, right? So then, what are the devices for this internal administration? That I will not take much time. This is wireless devices, phones, unified messaging, that is group messaging, what you are using, and then email, then file tracking model. That is a software. Where is the file? You cannot know in a traditional administration, but in e-administration, anybody who has access to the, or who has the password, can access file where it is, whether it is in Chief Minister's office or Minister's office or Chief Secretary's office or Additional Chief Secretary's office or Secretary's office or in the section or with the Additional Secretary or Joint Secretary. Wherever the file is, you can access the file and you can find the file through this software, that is e-filing system, right? That is e-filing system or file tracking system. This is number one in internal administration. Next is planning and decision making. Second part of use of ICT in administration is planning and decision making. So you know planning. What is planning? You have to plan annual planning, 5-year planning. We derived the concept of planning or 5-year plan from Russia after independence. Nehru implemented this. That means you must have a project, clear, defined goals to be achieved for coming 5 years. That we call as 5-year plan or Panchavasika Yojana. We need to set up these kinds of industries. We need to reduce regional imbalances by shifting industries or creating new industries where there are no industries. We have to work in agriculture, health, education sector. That means we have a plan for our country for the coming 5 years. Then annual plan. We have annual plan. Then we have a quarterly plan. Then we have monthly plan, right? Then you can reduce to weekly plan, etc. You need planning and decision making. So what is planned, that should be implemented through a particular way of decision making. That is crucial and important. How this can be implemented through ICT? That is GIS, General Information System, or geo-tagging will call the geo information system. That means local area are connected. You can see, observe what is being done, how it is being done. This is GIS system. Then you have management information system, MIS. Somebody asked MIS, I'll go through that. Then computerization and connectivity, video conferencing. These are instruments. I don't want to explain in details because we will be uh, losing time for that. We cannot complete the course, but these are important concepts, so I just referring them to the benefit of yours so that you can know. So information system is storage of information in a particular database, right? That is the information system. And GIS is geographic information system. That is geographically tagged, right? Which area, what is being done. So you can find this. There are so many examples of GIS, right? Then computerization. I have explained computerized in the last class. Everything needs to be computerized. Your filing, your information, everything for this planning and decision making. Then you need connectivity. Then you need database. Andhra Pradesh is very advanced in GIS. Now Bengal has done it. Odisha is doing it. Then in Rajasthan there is GIS. Now geotagging, how geotagging? Suppose there is a building in university, Revencha, Ramadevi, or Utkal, and it is geotagged. Geotagged means in Delhi, UGC can see what are the work going on right here. So there will be no room scope for manipulations. So this information technology or this system app helps you, right? So you have a new app in Corona. There is Arogya Setu. That means wherever you go, if you are infected by corona and detected wherever you go, it will show that a corona patient or corona affected person is there. Next, the third point is service delivery. That is the most crucial point in administration, you know. Somebody is using a management information system. I have already told you in chapter 3, that management information system is related to management of an organization. Organization may be private or government. How the information system can be managed. You need connectivity, you need software, you need hardware, as I have explained, you need people, and you need trained human resources. That is how your management information system can be managed, part of the management. I was also taking MBA classes and in explaining the MIS system. So MIS system has become crucial for every organization today all over the world, right? Then there are some examples of management information systems like in Maharashtra, in Odisha, in Bengal. I have already explained computerization. You need to computerize. That is most important. You need to computerize your secretariat, your department, your panchayat, your Ram Sabha. Everywhere you need to computerize. Then connectivity. Without connectivity, all are meaningless. Unless you have a net connectivity, there is no use of having a costly mobile phone with 4G connectivity. If you go to the village, in a remote village, and there is no network facility, whether it is Jio or BSNL or whatever it may be, so there is no meaning in having that phone or a good laptop. And you are having a Dell laptop or Sony laptop or Acer or whatever it may be, and you are using at your home in a remote village, there is no connectivity. So that does not work. What is the meaning of that? So all the entire ICT tools are dependent on connectivity. I have a mobile I am teaching you here, right? My laptop is not working right now. So you have a mobile that is working here. So if you go to your village and that is not working in terms of connectivity, there is no meaning of that. So all are dependent on connectivity. Next, third point is service delivery. So the basic objective of e-administration, what is the basic objective of e-administration? One thing, transparent, accountable, it's all right. Why there is a government? Who is a government? So in a democratic society or a democratic political system, government is of the people, by the people, and for the people. So that is the basis of the democratic state or democratic society. So the government has to see that all its citizens, whether poor, rich, etc., whatever difference, must have access to what government is doing. They must participate in the process of decision making. They must contribute to the process of decision making. And finally, those who are poor people, weak people, marginalized people, disadvantaged sections of the society, government is planning for them how they can have access to basic amenities, basic needs of life, requirements of life, civilized living. We need house, we need clothing, we need food, we need water, we need education, we need health. So earlier, in a very traditional conservative sense, what was the minimum basic needs of life? ଖାଦ୍ୟ, ବସ୍ତ୍ର ଏବଂ ଆଉ କଣ ବାସଗୃହ. So food, shelter, and clothes. Now, in the modern civilized living, we have added two items, that is education and health. So, if you don't have education, that is inhuman living. Education is a basic right. Because without education, you are not getting information. And by not getting information, you are detached from the process, and there is no meaning of democracy. Then you need a healthy life. So, you must have access to health. This must be ensured by the state, particularly by a welfare state. So, different services have been designed. In the second point, we see planning and decision making. So, what is the meaning of planning? We need to plan to provide these services to the common people so that the development will be inclusive. Development or the benefits of development will go to all kinds of people. So, if these services are designed very beautifully and the policies are made very beautifully, and if they're not implemented or if they're not delivered to the people for whom it is intended, then there is no meaning of government or meaning of these public services. It sounds very good, but does not reach the beneficiaries for whom it is intended. So that's why delivery of services is very crucial in administration, every administration, whether it is a traditional administration or e-administration, traditional governance or e-governance. So we found that this is not being done. There are serious leakages on the way in the delivery of services to the people, the delivery of public services to the people. That's why a model has developed, or many models have developed, which we have discussed yesterday. What we have discussed? What are the models? Models are intended to accelerate, to facilitate the delivery of services to the people in an effective manner, in a 100% foolproof, guaranteed manner, where there will be no leakages or manipulations or corruption. And everybody involved in this process must be accountable to the people, accountable to the higher authorities. Their lapses in this delivery of services should not be tolerated. So we found that ICT, information and communication technology, can be extremely helpful, can be extremely facilitator in this process of service delivery. So this by this way, this becomes a integral part of the democratic way of governance, or which we call as democratic governance. Now we use it ICT for democratic governance, that is e-governance. So suppose land records. Land records, I gave the example, that is a service delivery part. In a rural area, kiosks are there, small shops are there. What you tell in Odia, where you can access the government records, you can apply that. There's a e-shop type things in Odisha now, and in everywhere. The Praja, it is called Praja in Andhra Pradesh. So there you can go and apply. You can find your land record, right? Now you can get your migration certificate or any certificate on online mode. Now you can pay for admission in online mode. You don't need to come because of the pandemic. So this becomes the normal in future after the pandemic is over. So this is the use of ICT for service delivery. And then old age pension, widow pension, this can be delivered to directly to your account. Earlier, employees are going and delivering the suppose 300, 500, whatever the amount to you, and you give a commission, 20, 30, 30 rupees out of 100. If you are getting in a backlog for 12 months at a time, if you are getting 5,000 rupees, then you have to pay 500 or 1,000 rupees. Then if you know the story of this is Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana or Biju Kudia Yojana, wherever it is decided and given to a selected beneficiary, he will get a money and he has to pay these commission services. So this has not been 100% reduced. But this can be reduced by the use of ICT, that is public service delivery. So public service delivery can be revolutionized, changed totally by the use of ICT. So now we pay our electric bills, now we pay our water bills through this online mode of payment. We have agriculture information. You have every information on agriculture. What are the cost of inputs? What are the comparative cost of input throughout India in different states, in different districts? Then these are then redressal of grievances. You apply online, and you will get acknowledgement. You will get redressal of your grievances. Then you can put FIR in police station. So many things are there. So this is public service delivery, and this is important part of this ICT and administration. So these are the major aspects of this chapter, that is Unit 4. What is that? ICT and administration. Again, I am repeating. Number one is what are the objectives of ICT and administration? Internal administration. In internal administration, I saw the components, characteristics, and what are development. Then we have public service, decision making and planning. Then we have public service delivery. So what are the requirements? This is the three part of this chapter, right? We found qualitative public services can be developed in a qualitative manner, in a speedier manner, in a faster manner. So this can be done through what? Use of ICT. I'm sitting, I'm just checking. So this chapter is over. That is chapter 4, right? So understood. I hope you have understood or noted down all the major points. Let us shift to chapter 5. This is about administrative culture. So what is culture? Conceptually, you must be very clear. Because unless you understand the concept clearly, in a very simplified manner, you cannot understand complexities surrounding the particular concept or different aspects of the concept. So administrative culture, suppose these are administrative culture means a set of values, a set of norms regarding organization, which is imbibed by, which is received by the employee of the organization. Suppose Tata has a particular way of culture. Tata is a organization. Suppose other organizations are there. World Bank has its own culture. Bigger multinational corporations are there. Those who are working all over the world. Just take up the example of this oil exploration, this mobile company, this diesel company. These are after the names, not by the diesel is the name of a man. It does not mean the diesel that you are using. That is a fuel. The name of fuel has been named after this man, that is diesel, right? So every organization has a culture. That is a set of values that defines the organizational standards and organizational culture. That is what we mean by culture, right? Suppose in a government department, they have a culture. Every government has a culture, and this culture has developed being improved upon since years. So in government departments, the culture is seen in a very negative manner because they are status quo. They do not want change in government departments. If you have a new proposal, nobody will welcome it. Right? It's very difficult to implement a new proposal, particularly innovative, creative proposal in a government department, unless there is a serious political will or bureaucratic will at the top level. Otherwise, it will not be implemented. This is part of the administrative culture. Right? So a set of values that you can write it down. Culture means organizational culture means set of values that defines for what the organization stands for. What is the values that is organization, a particular organization is standing for? That is culture in total, right? So you will see there are lack of resources, a lack of manpower. This is the problem with every organization. There is no money, so we cannot do this. There is no man or woman or a human resource. We cannot do this, right? So there are external development and internal development. So these are the lacunas or bottlenecks which every organization faces in implementing a particular program or planning or decision making, whatever it may be. And organizational culture of particular organization plays a crucial role in motivating employees towards the objective, towards the implementation of a goal. So if your organizational culture is negative, if it is not that strong enough, then you are psychologically demoralized inside the organization. You cannot take the leadership, you cannot implement, you cannot be innovative, you cannot be creative, you cannot adapt yourself to new changes. So you cannot survive. Or if you are surviving, then that is a meaningless survival. So organizational culture is very crucial, and this is dependent on many factors: leadership, manpower, what is the culture for last many years, how they have developed, how they have been sustained by the people in the organization, by the leaders in the organization. So far government is concerned, government organization is always seen in a negative manner, status quo. With the coming of ICT, with the use of ICT in the internal administration of organization as well as external administration of organization, there has been a revolutionary change, particularly in the context of culture of organization. Totally change. And we can also further change. They're saying we can change, or society can change the nature of organization as well as the values of organization, so also the culture of organization. Suppose citizen charter. Government was seen negative, in a negative manner. Now what is happening? What are the changes? I must give you the example. What are the changes, major changes? You have heard the name of the concept of Mo Sarkar. In every
Yes, sir.
government, you will find when you enter the room or entrance, there is Mo Sarkar. In Odia, there is a paragraph written quoted by Honorable Chief Minister Narendra Modi. The democracy is like this. This is my soul. People must be respected, and there is a sample checking. We have to update in organization everywhere, even in universities, colleges. We have to update how many people have come to our organization, their phone number, and from the top level, there is a phone call to these citizens who have come to your office for a particular work, whatever may be the nature of work, in any office, government office. I am talking of government department, government organization, and government culture. So this is ICT. There is a phone call to that fellow, and there is a question whether you are satisfied with the behavior, with the approach of the people you met. You entered into organization, there is a receptionist, there is a security guard, and there is a concerned department where you are going. Suppose in a university, you are going for CLC, you are going for admission, you are going for your child, that is whether he's a boy or a girl, regarding hostel problem, food in the hostel. So they will ask you whether their behavior was good, whether there was they were reciprocate your queries or questions or doubts, etc. So this means this is a new use of ICT in testing the capability, the responsiveness of the administration. Earlier, there was no response, particularly for government administration, because there was no threat perception to their services, to their career, to their promotion, and so many things. So they are taken for granted. They are sitting. I am not saying all government employees are bad. There are very brilliant people who have rendered 3 decades, 2 decades, 2.5 decades of service for the success of the government, for the success of the government agencies. But in a general perception, you will find that there is a bad impression on the culture of a government organization. I just gave the example of Mo Sarkar, and that has brought a revolutionary change in the mindset of the people working in governments. So now they have become responsive by two ways: by compulsion and by your inner craze or inner creativity or inner values. That I am working in a government department, I am getting salary from my government department, I am surviving on salaries. Salaries are being given by the taxes of the common people. So if a common people comes, I must address his or her problem. I am not talking of I must solve his or problem. You cannot solve. You may not solve. Maybe he may be requesting a illegal thing that my children should get admitted here in this university. But you have to see whether he or she is being selected, whether she is fulfilling or he is fulfilling the cutoff mark, whether he comes in a merit list. So there are so many factors. That is not the point. What is how you are approaching, how you are responding to the common citizens. So every office, this is the change in culture. I just gave the example of how ICT has changed the culture of organization. Then we have a biometric system, attendance. Earlier, it is impression that in government departments people don't come. In primary schools, in villages, teachers don't come. There is absentee teachers. I am teaching on behalf of you. There are so many cases. 90% of teachers are correct. They are rendering their services for them. System is running, but there are some aberrations. How this can be changed by use of ICT? You can change information and communication technology. You can change. So you can take the attendance. You can through WhatsApp. Your headmaster can send a message. Sir, you do this. If you are not in the school, how can you do this? If you are not present in your school, then how can you do this? Suppose headmaster sends through a message in WhatsApp that sir, please do this, please bring this, please write that. If you are not in the office, you cannot do that. So you are caught red-handed that you are not in the office. So headmaster was not in the office, but he can know that you are not in the office by through use of ICT technology. So that's why it is said that G2C and C2C. What is G2C and C2C? Government to citizen and citizen to citizen. This is G2C and C2C, right? So we need the upgrading of skills, knowledge about technology, and we need to innovative use of technology, right? For this, we need role models. So there are two ways of management. I am teaching management and I am seeing through inspiration, through discipline. Suppose you want to use force, you want to use your power, you want to use your authority. That is the old model of management. By that, you cannot get the maximum from your employees. But if you are a role model, if you are a inspiring personality, and if you inspire people, mobilize people, motivate people, then you can get a maximum optimal use of your resources available with you. So every government organization does not have the required human resource power, or human resource available with them. So how can they best be utilized? So two ways I say that is the old method of using force, authority, threat. I'll dismiss you, I'll suspend you, I'll transfer you. By this, you cannot get a maximum output from the human resources that you have. So if you are coming to your office at 9 a.m. and leaving your office by 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or even 7 p.m. if there is a necessity, then other employees, your colleagues and your subordinates will follow you. If you are a boss and you are doing your duty sincerely, creatively, giving maximum whatever you have to the organization, then others will be inspired, right? So this is another way of mobilizing or motivating your employees. So motivation of the employees is very crucial for the development of a positive, inclusive organizational culture. So government department suffers from this lack of organizational culture. And now ICT can be used to develop this culture in a positive way, in an inclusive way, and in a pleasant way. And this can improve the organizational culture. And organizational culture is very important, not only for the decision making, not only for the planning, but also for the delivery, for the output. So you can get maximum output by a very good organizational culture. So in Tata, you have a different culture. In other sectors like Infosys and IT sector, you have different culture. In other multinational corporations, in Chinese companies, you have different organizational culture. In government organizations, you have different organizational culture. So in South, they have a different organizational culture. In North, they have a different organizational culture. So out of a comparative perspective, through ICT, we can see what is going on in around the world so far. Organizational is concerned, culture is concerned. So by that, we can improve upon the organizational culture through the use of ICT. So ICT as a new area. Then I am taking you to this next unit, that is six. So what is six? Six is ICT and rural development. This is a very crucial area and important area. What is rural development? Do you know what is development? So now you are using the term inclusive development, right? So what is inclusive development? What is inclusive development? So organizational culture has two aspects, internal and external. Internal means how employees are behaving, how they're cooperating, what is the team spirit, what is the empathy, what is the work culture there. The file is pending for months together. Nobody is responding. That is a bad work culture. And there is a grievance by a common man, poor man, or a group of man, or from village or anywhere, and nobody is responding. That's a very bad culture internally. Externally, somebody is coming to your office and you are not behaving properly. There is no time management. There is no office management. There is no front office management. These are parts of bad organizational culture that needs to be improved. And ICT has a crucial role in improving, in sustaining that improvement in the field of, in the context of organizational culture, right? So next is ICT and rural development. So what is rural development? Development, there is a difference between growth and development, right? Suppose growth means we have 6%, 8% of growth, economic growth in our country, right? Growing. Development means we have development, inclusive development or development by which people gets benefits, and this development percolates to people. So it will be inclusive development if it includes all sections of the people in its ambit, in its scope, in its area. So that is called inclusive development. So inclusive development is a new concept that is being used throughout the world in economics, in political science, and other aspects of social sciences. So every system, every kind of development, it is model paradigms of development. Whatever means the model, that must be inclusive. So India is a rural country. More than 70% of population are living in rural areas. And there is a growth of, in last 20 years, there is a growth of suburban areas. That is largely rural with urban features. That's a new challenge for public administration, for management, and for ICT, because that is dependent on ICT. You'll find, I'm just giving the example, you'll find in Kandhamal district in a remote area, there is a school known as Oxford School. So how can you find a Oxford School in Daringbadi? What is the meaning of that? What is the significance of that? And you see there are 5-10 computers in that school. So when there is a craze among the parents, even tribal parents who are uneducated, daily wage earners, they are not developed like you. There is a craze among them that they should send their children to these schools, right? And the attraction of these schools is that they have the computers. So ICT has entered into the minds of the people living in remotest of areas all over the world. So in rural areas particularly. And there are semi-urban areas, colonies going up, new schools are coming up, new institutions are coming up, new markets are coming up, small malls are coming up, two-storied, three-storied malls, concept of mall. So this is called semi-urban areas. Still then, India lives in rural areas. India lives in villages. Without the development of the rural areas, there cannot be the development of India. And if development needs to be, wants to be, has to be inclusive in these rural areas, then this rural area inclusive development or inclusive development, rural development has to use, there is no alternative, has to use ICT. That's why this chapter deals with the role of ICT in rural development. So by these examples and by these ideas, I explained what rural development is. Development of rural areas. What kind of development? Not only economic development, social development, economic development, educational development, health development, road and transport development, communication development, market development. So agriculture is the basis of life, is the lifeline of rural people. They are dependent on agriculture. And we need to address the issues of major two classes, that is peasants and agricultural laborers, farmers and agricultural laborers. Then there are petty producers, then there are common people, then there are young people. So development needs to use ICT. Fortunately, ICT has entered everywhere in the rural areas. Now there is not a single village which does not have a television. There is not a almost single village. They may not have landline telephone, but they must have been with these mobile phones. So now most of the young people, particularly in rural areas, what they are sitting on the corners of the village and watching TV in their mobile phones. So you can access television in your mobile phones. That is ICT, and you can access news, you can access Facebook, social media, any information you want. Suppose there is a prescription by a doctor, and you are a young boy or girl graduating or post graduating from a university from Kotak, Bhubaneswar, or anywhere in the country, and going to village, and there is a prescription, there is a medicine on the prescription. You want to understand what it is and what it is for. It was impossible for the rural people to know about them. So you search in the Google, you get the information. Paracetamol is for fever. So we need to have rural development through ICT or information and communication technology. First, you need ICT in agriculture. How ICT can be applied to agriculture? That is important. How ICT can be applied to agriculture, right? So agriculture, you need agricultural mapping, inputs for agriculture, tools for agriculture, what are the availability of agriculture. So if a center, Gram Panchayat, in the next chapter, I think there is a chapter on local governance. We'll deal in detail there. But here in generalized form, I want to say that all information regarding agriculture, whether it is information regarding climate or climate change, whether it is information regarding seeds, regarding pesticides, regarding tools of agriculture, regarding how to improve your agriculture, how to improve your output in agriculture, ICT can be used, and that information can be shared with the peasants and farmers. They don't use ICT. Advanced farmers use ICT. Educated farmers use ICT in Haryana and Punjab, or in Kerala and Maharashtra. But here in rural areas, in Odisha, most of many educated farmers are using ICT, but many poor farmers, those who are living in rural areas, they don't have access to ICT, or they don't have knowledge of ICT. So if Gram Panchayat or government departments can share information on agriculture, and that is being done by the government agriculture department, that you can use this pesticide for this particular disease of a particular fruit or vegetable or grain, right? Or for rice or whatever it may be. Then and there is fraud. Then there is natural calamity. Then this can be done. This is how it can be prevented through ICT. So from Google, from climate department, meteorological department, you get the information. There is a possibility of cyclone or flood, etc. Right? So this can be used. Next is petty producers. I am just giving an example. Earlier, what is happening? You don't know whether a vegetable mobile shopper seller will come to your village. Suppose in a family there are no male persons, they dependent on others. Now you have a mobile, and that lady or that man makes a call to the vegetable vendor. So please bring brinjal or cauliflower or whatever tomorrow morning. I need that. So the marketing has been connected through connectivity, through this network. In WhatsApp, you send, I need this. So there is a communication system that is roads in Odisha is very fine now. Even in remote areas, you have pakka road, you have concrete roads. So you have a bike and you bring vegetables or other items. Then in agriculture, apart from agriculture sector, in public service, the second important sector is public service delivery. So the public services that are being delivered to the people in rural areas, what are the common services? That is housing, that is allowances, bhattas, Vardhakya bhatta, Vidhava bhatta, that is Anganwadi services, lactating mothers or delivering mothers or pre-delivering mothers. So there are various schemes of the government, both of the central government and of the state government, intended for the beneficiaries living in rural areas. that has to be delivered efficiently, effectively, and without any corruption. ICT has a big role to play to bring this so that time, money, and corruption can be saved and checked. Corruption can be checked. They can be made in a transparent manner. So ICT has a very powerful, decisive, transforming role in the life of the people living in rural areas. So one is agriculture, which is the lifeline of rural India. Another is public service or public service delivery. Then education, then health, then other grassroots system, etc. So this is very crucial. So far rural development is concerned, there are so many examples you can get that I'm not getting to that, like Dhakra, Department of Women Child Care in rural areas. Then you have these self-help groups. They have been digitalized and connected. They are getting loan, and the use of ICT in the service of these things. I am just give you one is public service delivery. I talked of kiosks. Then you can get it in. mm, Especially IC should be capable of easy assimilation. That means this should be assimilated in rural areas. That is the important challenge. Generate significant and assured added value to the existing method of operation. There are general theoretical generations. You need not go through that, or you need to be need to understand. It is very simple. You need not explanation by me for this. So they must have technology. First, rural infrastructure. What is rural infrastructure? You need rural infrastructure if you want to bring rural development through ICT. So ICT has a big role to play. So we can now go to next chapter, that is ICT and local governance. Local governance. So what is local governance? Can you explain me? I have not asked you questions. You can ask. I'm just taking water. You tell me. It is otherwise known as decentralized governance.
पंचायत
So like
No,
Panchayati Raj and municipalities.
Panchayat Raj, this is municipalities, this is local government. We are here concerned with panchayats, Jila Parishads, Panchayat Samitis. I was talking about a Gram Panchayat in Kerala where there is the use of ICT in the administration of Gram Panchayats, internal administration. One was front office management, another was the use of biometric machine for token system, like in banks. So how much they are advanced? You imagine how much they are advanced, particularly Gram Panchayats in Kerala, in using ICT for their day-to-day administration. So this is one example. In Odisha, we are far behind because Gram Panchayats are considered to be very corrupt institutions dominated by the local elites. What do you mean by local elites? Locally powerful people, rich people, upper caste people, with having more power. Even if a women is, there is a concept developed in Rajasthan after reservation for women in Gram Panchayat, that is Panchpati. What do you mean by Panchpati? A woman get elected as Sarpanch, but her husband sits in the chair of Sarpanch, right? And wife registered. Oppose that because people have voted for wife, not for husband, and Sarpanch is her wife, is his wife. So question is, this is a reflection of patriarchy in the Panchayat Raj system or local governance. So this is the example of how panchayats are running in India, particularly in states like Odisha and other backward states. But first it was Bengal who revolutionized the Gram Panchayat administration, then it declined. Then we have the best model in Kerala and also in Maharashtra, in Karnataka. There are very good examples of Panchayat administration. So point is how ICT can be helpful in the governance of panchayats and in the role of panchayats in bringing inclusive development. One is the structure of panchayat system, local governance system. I don't want to take you to the history of local governance. We don't need that. So we have a three-tier institution system. We have a three-tier institution system. What is three-tier institution system? At the top level, at the district level, we have Jila Parishad. At the middle level, we have Panchayat Samiti, that is block. Then we have Gram Panchayats. And at the lowest level, we have Gram Sabha. That is a planning body for development of the revenue village, Gram Sabha. Then there is a reservation system for women, Dalits and tribals and backwards. That's the reservation system to give power to the weaker sections of the society. This is a kind of revolutionary changes because when there was a reservation for women, everybody was apprehensive in India whether that will be successful or not. If women engaged in cooking at their homes in domestic spaces, how can they manage a panchayat? But successfully, since then, since Rajiv Gandhi reservation, before that, it was Biju Patnaik who reserved for women in Odisha. So, since then, we have seen how successfully women are managing these Panchayat Raj institutions. Now it is time when there is the entrance of ICT, information and communication technology everywhere, the Panchayat Raj institutions or PRIs cannot remain aloof. They are using, they have been using, and there is a greater use. So, if we use it scientifically and correctly in a proper manner with a correct planning, then it will yield a very good result in bringing accountability, transparency, and inclusive development. So, first thing we need the governance of Panchayat Raj institutions must be ICT based. The entire information of a Panchayat must be stored in the computer. Entire information regarding Panchayat. How many members or voters are there in the different revenue villages? How many roads are there? How many buildings, public buildings, government buildings are there? How many schools are there? How many toilets are there? How many libraries are there? So the entire picture of panchayat, or that is mapping of panchayat, can be stored in a database at the panchayat level. So when you map, you identify the resources, you identify the weaknesses of a gram panchayat. What are the weaknesses? What are the weak points? What you don't have for inclusive development, and what you have? You have a river system, you have a canal system, you have ponds, that is a water system. So you have to plan how this water can be best utilized by taking expert opinion or engineer's opinion or whoever it may be, through coordination with the government at the higher level, at the district level, at the secretariat level, at the state level, that these are our resources, water resources, how can these best be utilized. So what is happening right now? Nobody has a concrete inclusive information at particular one point. So one engineer came, he said that there must be embankment here. And after 5 years, it was found that that is a wastage of money and time and resources. No output is there. So if you have a centralized, digitalized information, even with a click of the mouse, a chief engineer or a senior engineer, a executive engineer, superintendent engineer can see, or a team of engineers can see, this is the water resources available throughout the panchayat or throughout the block, and a decision or planning can be made so that irrigation can be developed, or particular pattern of cropping. The nature of soil is particularly good for a particular crop in a particular panchayat or a particular area or block. So that can be identified. Then how many schools are there? How many students are there? If you digitalize the attendance system, you can find what is the percentage of dropouts. These are not in materials. I am just explaining. What are the particular causes of dropouts? Why girls are more dropouts than boys? Why girls are going out of school? They are leaving studies in between in class 5. Suppose you have 100 students in class 1, and when they reach class 5, there are say 85 students or 80 students or 70 students. What is the reason? So what is the reason for lack of quality education in that period or in that area? So mapping is very important. The digital mapping is very important, and this can be done by the use of ICT. Then you open the office, Panchayat office or Jila Parishad office or Panchayat Samiti office, and you must have a grievance cell, you must have a front office, you must have information there, and you must have weekly grievance say, days. and you go panchayat elected leaders of the panchayat like sarpanches, naib sarpanches, panchayat samiti members or ward members. They must have a plan for moving around the panchayat and identify what are the problems, right? So digitalization or ICT has a very crucial role, decisive role in the development of in the context of inclusive development in rural areas. So local governance institutions are very important. They are democratic. They have more democratic spaces for the common people. Once we give vote for 5 years, then we sit down. But these are institutions which makes democracy vibrant at the rural areas. And if these democratic institutions or democratic spaces do not allow people to come to the process of decision making or planning, then the democratic space will be squeezed and democracy will be excluding the owners, that is the common people, the rural people. This is what they are seeing. So what will happen? These use of ICT will at the policy level, it will be helpful. How can it be helpful? People will be acquiring knowledge, acquiring information regarding the policy intervention, how they can intervene, how can then be empowered. This is one area. Another is the improvement in the delivery of services, right? Improvement in the service, public service delivery. Then I told about ICT in agriculture, that is networking, communication technology, education technology. Then I am not dealing with agriculture, but that's a separate chapter on education, on e-learning or e-education. Then National Education Technology or Extension Department, village knowledge centers are there. Then you can find this grain prices in through the use of ICT. Then ICT and women empowerment is there. You know about school self-help groups. How then there is local public services at the panchayat level, at the district level. They can be delivered with the use of ICT effectively. Then we have government civil society interface. So what is civil society? Civil society consists of groups, organizations, other than the state. That is civil society. Civil society consists of groups, organizations, other than the state. So people who are members of these organizations, they engage with the state through their organization. That is civil society government interface. So if it allows or it facilitates the people's participation in the process of governance, then the entire governance and development both can be inclusive. Both can be beneficial to the people. And government can be vibrant, government processes can be vibrant, active, and democratic. So how this can be possible? You have a project at the panchayat level or at the government level. Project is implemented or is going to be implemented. So in between, you can have feedback. This is public audit. You can get a feedback from the people how it is being implemented. If people gives a negative feedback that this is not being properly implemented, quality is very poor, management is very poor, then there is a scope of improving things in between. If you do it at the end, there is no meaning. Postmortem, that's like a postmortem. So at various stages of the implementation of a project or plan, you can have feedback, and by giving feedback or by inviting feedback from the people, you are inviting participation of the people in the implementation of a project, in the decision of a government or panchayat institutions, PRIs. So that helps in the government civil society interface. If that is friendly, that is reciprocal, that is complementary or supplementary, then the development can be inclusive and can be meaningful to the lives of the common people living in rural areas. That is very crucial. So how women empowerment can be achieved through ICT at the rural level? So apart from agriculture, apart from health, education and other areas, so participation of poor people in Gram Sabha, in decision making, in anti-poverty program, other development programs is crucial. So what is happening since last many years? You'll see why this is important. You'll see we have a patriarchal system. As I was giving the example of this Panchpati. So we have a patriarchal system which we call in Odia as Pitru Kaindrika Vyavastha or Pitru Tantra. So in a patriarchal system, there is the discrimination on the basis of gender, inside house and outside house. I don't want to take you in details to other areas of gender or gender discrimination. What I am saying, in the development process, women are neglected, marginalized, and excluded from the process. In the decision-making process in the family and outside the family, panchayat institutions, even she is a sarpanch elected member, decision is being made by her husband and in-laws. That needs to be changed. So women empowerment is very crucial in rural areas because by that we are changing or we can change or we have the potential. Women's institutions, government institutions or panchayat raj institutions have the potential to change or bring change in the lives of the people, women in rural areas. Whether she is poor or rich or from middle income group, that is not important. Importance is women must be given opportunity to participate in the affairs of the Panchayat Raj institutions in a very meaningful way. You have a Gram Sabha, you find everywhere there is Gram Sabha. But what is the percentage of women participation in Gram Sabha? Very less. Who are participating? Their participation is decided by the men. That must be changed. So if you send information to women through the use of ICT, through the use of mobile phones, through the use of ICT in Panchayat Raj institutions, then participation can increase. If participation can increase, there will be change in the nature of planning and decision making. So we have not identified the needs of women in a particular village or a particular panchayat. What are the needs of women? Where is the need of a tube well? Where is the need of a public toilet? Where is the need of a school? So all this must be decided by the women because they are getting the benefit and that is intended for them. Where is the need of Anganwadi center? All is being decided by men, not by women. Women must be allowed, and this can be facilitated through ICT. So ICT has a role to play, crucial role to play in the development of women empowerment or for women empowerment, right? So that is important. So ICT and what happened? ICT has a role in women empowerment, right? So you have, I have already told you the self-help groups and other agencies like Anganwadi centers and other centers in which women play a crucial role. Then mapping of the resources in villages, village development, panchayat development, the role of elected panchayat representatives, and so many things we need to develop, right? So rural development component that is agriculture and other core areas, education, health, etc. Then you have this women empowerment. In toto, this is rural development. Rural development can be more fruitful, meaningful, effective, inclusive by the use of ICT and through institutions of local governance, that is Panchayat Raj. So let us discuss what are the suggestions by you, because I think you have only 5 students. How many are there present in the right now in the class? Usha.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Somebody has raised a hand. You tell.
7 students are there, sir.
Five देखो जी मेरा. Somebody has raised hand. Who is Satyajit?
Yes,
Sure.
sir. Here, why the e-Panchayat project of Andhra Pradesh has been emphasized? Why not other states of India?
No, that I gave an example. This is Praja and other e-Panchayat. But so far e-governance is concerned, Kerala is most developed in India. Then Andhra does not come. Then comes. I'm just giving you one example. Karnataka and Maharashtra, they are very developed. Now almost all states in India have adopted in some form. We have also adopted. But question is, You have a good model, you have a good idea, you have a good planning. But when it comes to the implementation part, there are leakages, failures, etc. It depends on how much sincere you are, how much committed you are to carry on the project to make it successful. Why it is not so successful in Odisha? So for panchayats, I am talking of in e-governance, we have very best models. In SAM's management system or admission system is one of the best models in India. Student admission, e-admission. So likewise, there are so many good models, best models throughout India in different points, and Odisha we do have. But question is, so far as rural development is concerned, we are lagging behind. I told you, I just gave you the examples. They have a biometric system, token system in panchayats. Can you imagine token system in panchayats in Odisha? So people will go, I belong to the ruling party. I am the son of Sarpanch. I am son of ex-Sarpanch. I am powerful. I will not stand in the line. So this is culture. I was talking of administrative culture in the earlier part of this class. This is a feudal culture, semi-feudal culture. This cannot bring democracy. That's why we are saying if we use ICT, that ICT, don't dream of ICT will bring heaven to you. ICT will not automatically bring heaven to you. It is the question of use of ICT for what purpose. That is important.
Yes,
Please
sir.
tell.
And how Praja is different from this e-panchayat system project?
No, Praja is a particular project. Praja is a particular project. E-Panchayat is total e-Panchayat. Panchayats have to be electronically governed. And Praja, we have what we are telling in Odisha, what we are telling that these in rural area, these kiosks for e-governance or e-service centers. What is that called? That is Praja in Andhra Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
Praja is the e-kiosk settled in different parts of rural areas to provide or to give service delivery through ICT. Use of ICT is there to give the land records, bills, payments, or either cash. These are made by Praja. So Praja is a scheme, and likewise we have also scheme. We have I don't know how it is successful. There is no study, concrete study how because you don't have a uniform system of use of ICT in Odisha. You have success stories in some districts. You have failure stories in some districts. So that is the point. That is most challenge in Odisha. In Andhra, they are definitely more advanced than us, but they are also behind than other states, right?
Yes, sir.
Then, okay, thank you. So, in when you there are some examples of ICT experiences in your book study material in the last part of the every chapter. You can study that so that you can get an idea of that. So we covered how many chapters? Six or seven? Six, seven, eight, whatever. I don't know.
Five, sir. Five chapter.
No, no, no. I completed rural development is not five chapters. That is, I think, seven. So we have digital photography.
Seven, sir.
Seven. So we need to complete eight, right?
Yes, sir.
So chapter unit 5, unit 6 we completed. Then local governance unit 7. So we have 16 chapters totally. We don't need to go to the details of the chapter that we have in last part. That is on particular models of different municipalities or something like that. We need not go to that. That's why I will give the major points. But what we need, what is important for is us, that we'll do, right?
Okay, sir.
Like the conceptual clarity, this e-governance in Panchayat Raj institutions, this is administrative culture, this is ICT and rural development. These are important chapters that we should know. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this is 55, 655.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Uh, so can we leave before 5 minutes? So we need not go to start a new chapter, and we have only 5 students. So you please tell the students to be present in a large number so that they can get the benefit. Only 5 or 6 students. This is very poor presence. So Usha is the admin. Usha, to you, nobody is listening to you. Your
Sir,
direction.
I'm not the admin, sir.
Huh?
RT, sir, Bhubaneswar. Classroom 1, RT, Bhubaneswar.
हाँ
I
वो तो हाँ. No, you have written in the group ना.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So
So
actually
what?
there are some technical problems.
Hmm.
କିଛି ପିଲା ଜଏନ୍ କରୁଛନ୍ତି କିନ୍ତୁ ଅଟୋମେଟିକାଲି ଲେଫ୍ଟ ହେଇଯାଉଛନ୍ତି।
ओहो अच्छा. नहीं नहीं ସେମାନେ ଦୂରରେ ଥିବେ ନା ଗାଁରେ ଥିବେ.
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
Do you have any questions?
No
Do
sir,
you?
I don't have. I have the soft copy, sir.
अच्छा. No, it's not a question of you have a soft copy, you don't have a soft copy. That is not important. Important is you must understand the ideas. There
Yes,
is
sir.
a wireless application protocol and GPS system, ground penetrating radar, GPS, right? So you must know that because there are questions and you have to prepare assignments, right? Anyway,
Yes, sir.
uh, so you enjoyed the class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
Uh, tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.